This is the story of how a criminology PhD student murdered 4 University of Idaho students in their sleep, and how a single piece of evidence led investigators across the country to find him. In the early morning hours of November 13, 2022, 4 young lives were violently taken in an off-campus house in Moscow, Idaho. Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Zaina Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were brutally stabbed to death while they slept. What makes this case particularly chilling is that the killer was studying the very crime he was about to commit. Bryan Kohberger was a 28-year-old doctoral student at Washington State University, located less than 8 miles from the victim's home. He was completing his first semester in a criminology PhD program when he committed these murders. 2 other roommates survived that night, including Dylan Mortensen, who encountered a masked man with bushy eyebrows in the house but didn't immediately realize what had happened. The investigation that followed captivated the nation. Authorities had very little to go on initially, but they had one crucial piece of evidence: a knife sheath left at the crime scene next to one of the victims. DNA on that sheath didn't match anyone in the FBI database, so investigators turned to genetic genealogy, using public ancestry websites to create a list of potential suspects. The trail led them to Kohberger. When he drove to his parents' home in Monroe County, Pennsylvania for the holidays, local officials went through the family's trash and found DNA that matched what was on the knife sheath. Surveillance also revealed Kohberger's white Hyundai Elantra near the victim's house at least 12 times before the murders, dating back to August. His phone records showed he returned to the area around 9 in the morning on the day of the murders, just 5 hours after the killings. On December 30, 2022, Pennsylvania State Police found Kohberger in his parents' kitchen wearing examination gloves and putting trash into separate Ziploc baggies. He was arrested and charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. During questioning, Kohberger quickly asked for a lawyer when investigators mentioned the Idaho murders. He used software to wipe many of his devices before they could be examined. The murder weapon, believed to be a knife, was never found despite extensive searches. Investigators never discovered a clear motive or connection between Kohberger and the students. On July 2, 2025, Kohberger accepted a plea deal to avoid the death penalty, pleading guilty to all charges. When the judge asked if he killed each victim willingly, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation, he responded with a firm yes for each name. 3 weeks later, he was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, plus 10 years for burglary. At sentencing, families confronted their children's killer. Kaylee Gonsalves' sister told Kohberger that if he hadn't attacked the students in their sleep, Kaylee would have fought back. Dylan Mortensen spoke publicly for the first time, describing Kohberger as a hollow vessel, something less than human, a body without empathy or remorse. The house where the murders occurred was demolished in December 2023. A memorial garden for the victims now stands on the University of Idaho campus. The families have since filed a lawsuit against Washington State University, claiming the institution failed to act on complaints about Kohberger's inappropriate and menacing behavior before the murders. To this day, Kohberger has never explained why he committed these crimes, leaving the families and community with questions that may never be answered. He remains in prison, where he will spend the rest of his life.